All right, guys, hi. Thank you for joining me here today. I'm Dorothy, your professional astrologer. So I want to talk about January for the month, but before I do that, I just want to let you know, if you haven't signed up for my email list, amongst the new people who go to my website, nhastrologer.com, and join my email list for my newsletter, of the new people who do that, I am picking 3 people every month for a 20-minute session free with me. So go to nhastrologer.com and sign up there if you would like to be part of that. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I put up lots of videos every single month and you are notified when they are up. So let's get started. I want to talk about, for this month, 3 things, because otherwise these videos just get way too long. So I have 3 things that I've chosen out of the month, and there's always a ton more that I want to talk to you guys about in the general sense. So I'm going to give you that general information right now. And the second piece of each video will be where these things are going on and influencing you for each of your zodiac signs. I also like to pull an oracle card or 2. I might just do that too for each sign for the month of January. All right, so let me get started with what's going on here. So I got my notes in front of me. It's a big whiteboard. See? Talking about being authentic. Very important to be authentic right now. It's always important to be our true selves anyways. This is me. I'm not going to be anybody I'm not. When we live in our own authenticity, we live true to ourselves, you know, the energy, life just flows a whole lot better. And I know that just my own life experience has proven that to myself. So one of the first things I'm going to talk about, I'll tell you really quick. Mercury retrograde, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Jupiter retrograde and as it makes its conjunction to the North Node, the lunar node, on the day it goes retrograde. And then if I'm not running too long, I'm going to talk about Venus and Sag. Okay, so Mercury. Mercury's retrograde January 7th all the way through January 26th. Now, it starts its retrograde motion in the sign of Aquarius. It will only be at 0 degrees of Aquarius, but it will be at that degree for a whole week. And so we're getting to start off a retrograde. Retrogrades, you know, the day that, especially Mercury or any planet, truly, when they go retrograde, the day that they're retrograde, and even the day that they're direct, they're at a standstill from our perspective here on this planet. And you know, the energy of that just means that what it means is nothing's moving. Nothing will move. It's stopped. It's like us when we're in our car. You know, there's that dead stop before we go the next direction. So Mercury tends to be very free-flowing, great for gathering information. It's very lighthearted, very easy, kind of like the butterfly, because we're describing, you know, Mercury in its natural rulership of Gemini. Now, with it in Aquarius, as it goes retrograde, again being in 1 degree for a whole week as opposed to a single day like it usually is, lots of communication issues are just going to go hit a standstill. And whether this means that, whether it's communication and, you know, phones just go bad, computers go haywire for a little bit, or if we look at the other aspect of Mercury, transportation and movement. So wherever you live, there could be some weather. You know, I live in the northern hemisphere, so I'm looking at, you know, probably some bad weather that week, just that will keep us home a little more so we're not moving out and about as much, okay? So don't take this as the end of the world by any means, but there will definitely take this whole week, especially the first week of January, it'll take a little while for us to get rolling on what this Mercury energy is really wanting to produce. It's not going to produce much in Aquarius. What it will do when it moves into the sign of Capricorn, somewhere around the 10th, once it moves into the sign of Capricorn, like 29 degrees, 28, it's backing all the way up to 14 degrees of Capricorn, which is where those cardinal planets have been, you know, right around 13, 14, 15 degrees for months and years on end, right? And that tells me that we got some more cardinal cross, cardinal T-square things happening, and this is the case. So later in the month, this will take a little while, but on January 20th, Mercury makes a square aspect to Uranus, and then on the 22nd and the 30th, it conjuncts Pluto. Now, it conjuncts Pluto as a retrograde planet on the 22nd and as a direct planet on the 30th. So what do these two things mean? And I'm going to get to where it is for each of the signs in just a second, so hang on. With Mercury making a square aspect to Uranus, this is communication, especially as a retrograde planet. You know, there's just going to be, we're going to be getting weird emails, we're going to be getting weird messages, we're going to be getting stuff that is just through the roof very different. Now, Aquarius and Uranus rules Aquarius. Since Mercury started its retrograde in that sign, and the planet that is the ruler of gets an aspect from Mercury, you know, we're going to, you know, we feel like we need to move and we need to do something. This could be a pretty tricky retrograde this time around. If you have electronics, this is one of the times, because Aquarius rules those things. I would recommend before we go retrograde, so you're going to hear this ahead of time because I have it up in December. For those of you lucky enough to see it ahead of time, definitely back up your electronics and keep an eye on them. You know, fix things, renew things, do what you need to do to keep things in alignment and up to date. And that's really important. And that's that Mercury square Uranus, all right, January 20th. And we're going to feel that a few days on either side of that date, okay? And that's the day that the sun enters Aquarius as well. So I'm telling you, it's going to be an interesting day on January 20th. There's just going to be a lot of rocking and rolling going on. And I'll be there to see it too. We'll let each of us know how that happens. Fill me in when you get a chance if you like. Then on the 22nd and on the 30th, when Mercury does make this conjunction to Pluto, you know, whatever we were doing that went through a major shakeup or just, you know, amazing news. I mean, this can even be amazing news. Don't take shakeups as something that's negative all the time, you know, with that Uranus energy. On the 22nd, when it does conjunct Pluto, there could be a very deep transformation. It's like, okay, so I have this new information. What do I do with it now? All right, what do I do with it now? And this is how we look at it. And on the 22nd, all the way through the 30th, Mercury will just be in conjunction with Pluto that whole time, within a few degrees either side. And so we are changing and transforming how we see things and how we feel about something and how we're presenting that out in our immediate environment. Because Mercury is in charge of the immediate environment as well as the communication piece that everybody speaks about. So if you don't know enough about Mercury, go search it out and you'll get lots of good information about that. So next step is what is going on in what house. So, and the houses will be representative of your zodiac sign. So that is next. So let me start off with the exact date of the retrograde of Mercury, and that is January 5th. I failed to mention that in the first few minutes, I think. So know that it's on the 5th that it's actually retrograde. The 1st to the 7th is when it's in that sign of Aquarius. But after that, it moves into Capricorn, and that's the main information that I just gave you, was when Mercury is retrograde in Capricorn and the aspects that it makes. Now, that energy is in your solar 5th house. So that is the place of the astrology chart where we're creative. It rules our children too, so what the things we create and how we are creative. So there could be a couple of ways this plays out for you. So like I said, listen to all the information I just said for the last 6 or 7 minutes in the first half of this video, and realize that it's coming from the area of where you're creative. So you might need to make adjustments there, and your children. So whether you're overly busy or have a lot going on with a child or your children, however that works out for you, that is the sector that will be heightened for those of you who have Virgo rising. And there's a lot of people with Virgo rising. It's a very common rising sign, more than some of the others, more than most of the others actually. So try and just make those adjustments that you need to in the areas that you are being creative, whether it's creative writing, painting, singing, dancing, whatever it is that you're creative, all right? Because that's a great way to do it. It's the places that we're passionate. And even if you're passionate about numbers, since Virgo's in that area, since Virgo's in that sector. Since you are a Virgo and Mercury's in that sector, there we go, I said it right. Because Jupiter, I'm moving on to Jupiter now, is retrograde in the sign of Virgo. That's your sign. And it's at 23 degrees of Virgo that it goes retrograde on January 7th. And that's in your solar first house. So it's you, it's who you are, it's how you present yourself to the world. The North Node is with Jupiter when it goes retrograde. And so when these two are connected, it represents a shift and a change in our life path. All right? And this is basically, it's a shift in the change in the global life path, the global shift in what we're focusing on and how we're really being present and how we're healing and how we're the world or healing ourselves, how we're in service to others or how we're in service to ourselves or to the world. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot going on here. And with this in your first house, this means a lot to you. It's how you're going to present all of this to the world because it's very inspirational. The eclipse was there back in September. It was in this sector, really near this where Jupiter goes retrograde now and where the North Node is. So the North Node represents that life path and what we're supposed to be doing here on the planet. And right now, we're all supposed to be focusing in on what's important and how we can heal. All right? And this is highly, very, very important for you on a personal level. So looking at that bigger picture and deciding what path you want to take now. It's an extremely important time. I want you to also go, I'm going to put a link up here. I want you to also go and click on the link and it will take you to the separate video I have on Jupiter in Virgo. If you haven't listened to that yet, you go listen to it and find the sector that's for your sign. It's just one video and there's timestamps in the text box and you can jump ahead to your sign. All right? Good. All right, the other thing I want to talk about for this month, before I pull a couple cards for you guys, is Venus is in Sagittarius. When Venus is in Sag, and it'll be in there for most of the month, it's adventurous, that's fun, that's very lighthearted. You know, we have a great time in relationships. We find our partners fun, or if they're not fun, we're like really looking for them to be fun. But in the month, it does make a conjunction to Saturn, who's also in Sag. And what that does, that's in your solar fourth house of home and family, right? And so we're feeling like we want our spouse, if we have a spouse, or a domestic partner. If we don't have a domestic partner, we might be wanting one, or a spouse. We might be wanting one because Saturn's down there, and it's saying, with Venus, maybe I want a love relationship that's a little more stable. Or maybe I want, maybe somebody's pushing me to move in with them and I'm feeling fearful and shy about it. So when a lot of this stuff goes on, and when Saturn's down in the fourth house too, home and family is going through some type of shift and change, and the things that aren't working get to be sort of shed, and the things that are working get to be shored up and stabilized a little bit more. So when Venus moves through this sector and it makes a connection to Saturn that is also in this sector, this is a very great opportunity to really secure up the family and shore the family up so we can feel more in control of what's going on there. But it's fun, it's adventurous, and I really think you guys should definitely take that into account and have some fun and play. So, what are the two cards that came up for you? Oh, temptation. I don't know what to think about that one. Temptation. It's like the devil card in the tarot, I believe. I'm not a tarot expert, but this is definitely, how do I want to read this one? I'm just smirking right now. It's about making the right choices. And so focus in on, because I'm thinking of Saturn too. This is similar to some Saturn energy. If we're afraid of something, we tend to make choices out of fear, not out of authenticity, which is what I started this video with. So make sure that if you have some important decisions to make, that you make them from an authentic place, not from a place of fear. All right? And then the other card is fulfillment of wishes. I like that too. It's very nice energy. So again, being authentic to yourself, the fulfillment of wishes, that would be part of what Jupiter does in that first house and expands who we are. So make sure when we're focusing on something, we're focusing on the correct things. Whatever's correct for you, not for me, not for anybody else. You're focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. It's okay to know what you don't want, but don't focus on that, okay? We always have to have that contrast, as Abraham Hicks would always say. We always have to have that contrast so we know what we want. So focus on what you want. So that fulfillment of wishes is a great card there, but always focus on it, not from fear, because of the other card that you had and the presence of Saturn. All right, I know, lots of information. So if you want more, because there's a ton more always, and you want your own personal session, you know where to find me, nhastrologer.com. You can make your own appointments right on my website. I also have online classes that I teach regularly throughout the year. And I also just began a new mentorship program with a whole bunch of new information and stuff like that. It's on my website, but please email me if you're interested in that. I have 8 positions open for the first 6 months of the year. All right, because it's just very limited, because it's one-on-one teaching and mentorship with me and you. Thank you. Please subscribe, please share, and I will see you guys next time. Lots of love. Namaste.